Hey, what's going on, guys? In this episode, this podcast, we're going to be talking about two topics. The first one is for Arcade1Up. You need to come out with a Star Wars XL this year. Do it now. And I'm going to be explaining why I think it's very possible for them to do that and why I want it. I'm going to give you the reasons why. And if you're in the chat, I'm going to share this to Arcade1Up. I don't talk to them anymore, but I'm going to send them a link to this episode and be like, just listen, okay? Just watch what I'm talking about. Okay, the second topic, I'm going to talk about the journey of getting a Jurassic Park Stern pinball machine, and I'm hoping you enjoy that content because I've been really excited to talk about this for a while, and today was probably the best day in several years that I've had, and I want to share that experience with you. It could come across as inspirational. I hope it does. I learned so much today, but it's not really what I learned about pinball. It's what I learned about myself, and I think it applies to so many people, and I just want to share this with as many people as possible. So those of you in the chat, shout out, say hi. I'd love to hear from you. We got some people already in the chat saying, BoPeep64, he said, instead of Atari Star Wars XL, they need to do the Star Wars Trilogy XL. That is so true, but it's just not going to happen. And I'll give you the reasons why the Star Wars Trilogy is not going to happen, at least anytime soon. So we'll get right into that topic. So first of all, the original Star Wars Atari, they've already worked out everything they need to do to be able to build the XL version of the Atari. The emulation is done. The license is done. The relationship with Atari, the partnership, it's all there. All they have to do is come out with a bigger version. That's it, right? So they don't really need to work out much more. But I'm going to give you some more reasons why I think it should be this year for the Star Wars XL. I'll give you the reasons, okay? Let's just jump right into it, guys. What's up, JJ? Good to see from you. Good to see from you, Dan. Good to see from you, Papa Brad Gaming. Paul, what is up? I hope you like this episode, Paul, because I think you'll be able to connect to it when I talk about Jurassic Park. Okay, so let's jump into it. So if you take a look at the Arcade1Up website when it shows Star Wars. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think the Star Wars arcade game from Arcade1Up, this new version, is out of stock. It's gone. Like, you go to the Arcade1Up website, it doesn't show it available. It's this weird thing that says if you order it within 1 day, 2 hours, you'll get it by March 6th. But the Arcade1Up website doesn't have it, and they haven't had it for a while, right? But if you take a look at Shop Hippo, it also says it's sold out. Does that mean it's done? Because what we heard from Arcade1Up is they had about, I think it was like 400 on Arcade1Up's website, and those sold out pretty quick. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was like 3,000 were going to be sold by Shop Hippo. Is it the case that they're all gone? Now, it's possible there's still some in stock, and I'll talk about that because I don't know any of the real data. I don't talk to Arcade1Up anymore. The community basically hates anyone who has any communication with Arcade1Up, but it's fine for iArcade, and it's fine for AtGames. So whatever. I have no relationship with them. Fine. But here's the deal. With Arcade1Up, did they actually sell 3,000 units, or did Shop Hippo resell them, right, to Walmart or something like that? Maybe they didn't sell very well, and they're out of stock for a different reason. I don't know. But what I do know is the website says it's out of stock. Now, the only reason that I think the Star Wars re-release even happened, John D did mention this on a previous video, that they were looking at the eBay prices. Now, I shared that with them. I was like, dude, you guys should come out with another Star Wars. They're going for sale like crazy on eBay. So at the time, if you went on eBay, you would see the original 2019 version of Star Wars going for over $1,000, sometimes $1,500. And that was kind of an indicator that these are collector items, they have high value to people, and people are willing to pay a lot for them. So Arcade1Up did. I don't know if I influenced that, or it's just them thinking through it as well. And there was other people I saw on forums that saw the same thing, right? And they said the same thing. Like, if Arcade1Up just re-released this version, they probably sell through a good amount of them because of that. But if you go to eBay right now, this is when potentially, I say potentially because I don't know the exact details, Star Wars, the new version, the 2023 version, is apparently sold out. So how much are they going for on eBay right now? Well, they're still going for a really high amount, higher than retail. That's interesting. Now, I don't see anything in here for like $1,500, but there are some that went for over $1,000. So as you scroll through eBay and you go look at, let's go make sure we're on the right one. Is this the, what has sold? Let's switch to sold items. Now, as you go through it, you'll see some small numbers, but this one is just the yoke, $100. This is a new vacuum formed add-on for $35. That looks really cool. We got screw cap covers. Okay, so you keep going through it. And here's one. Ooh, it looks like it's the cab, $200. Wow. No. That's the PCB only for $200. Got some stools. There we go. A sold recently Star Wars machine 2023. So it's someone who bought the 2023 version and is reselling it. They sold it for $750 plus $95 in shipping. Okay, and when did this happen? This happened in February 15th. So someone was willing. Now, it's not a lot of people because there's only one bid. But if you scroll through, you'll see this. $850, 40th anniversary version being resold. Here's one. It's the 2019 version with 20 bids, February 4th, over $1,000. Look at that, with $165 in shipping. So here's the point. If Arcade1Up is listening, do you guys see these numbers? Why not release an XL version this year? Look at the comments, look at the chat, and see. Like I said, I know a lot of people want to get the Star Wars trilogy, the Sega version. I want that one too. And if for some reason they can do that, cool. But here's what I think. Why don't they re-release this year, or towards the end of the year, or maybe beginning next year, the Star Wars Atari XL for $799? Not $1,000 like the Pro. Yeah, I'm thinking through it. It would be great if it was $699. That would be a killer price, but that's only $100 more than the 3/4 scale. I just don't think they would do it. I would love it, of course. But we've seen established that Golden Tee went for $699. And so I don't want to see a Star Wars XL for $999. That's basically the Pro price. And, you can put the same yoke on the Star Wars XL, which you were able to sell for $499 originally and sell for $599 on the 3/4 scale. If you put that same yoke on the other version, we're just asking for more wood. That's it. Now, it's not for everybody. I get that. Okay, cool. Only make 1,000. You made 3,500 of the 3/4 scale. The KI version, you only made 500. Make 1,000 Star Wars XLs and sell them for $799. I think that would work. And that would be really cool, because the reason why I would want to have it is because that is specifically a cabinet that I don't think I'll ever own the original version. It's way too big. So for me, there's like a weight limit and a size limit. And I think size and weight is something that's really important to a lot of people. I think it's one of the reasons why the 3/4 scale kind of worked. And I've learned a lot in the last couple days, and it's related to the Stern Jurassic Park pinball machine that I got. Size matters, but the weight, there's a barrier for all of us. And what I learned recently is that barrier may not be as high as I thought. And so I want to get into that in a little bit. I'll talk about some revelations that I had in that, and it kind of changes the game for me when it comes to home arcade. But still, I have a barrier, and that barrier is the full-size version of the Atari. It's way too big. Another barrier that I have is I own right now the Star Wars Sega trilogy, the full-size arcade. And when I bought it and I got it in my garage, that's a barrier for me. It's too big. It's too big. The original arcade is so large, it will be difficult to get through doorways in houses. Did anyone do the math on that? There's like no room to be able to get that sucker into my basement. Like, I have the space for it in this area, but the complexity with that weight, with that very large CRT, to get it around to the basement through the door, I don't have a sliding glass door. Like, this is where the XL wins. So I've owned the Golden TXL, and it's big enough that it looks like a full-size arcade. Like, it's pretty close. It's not there, but it's definitely a good compromise. And with the Golden T, I ended up selling it. But when I took it outside, when I took it, into a truck to sell at the auction, I used a dolly. And so I just got a dolly and I took it up my stairs. You can do that. With the XL, maybe it's too big to like lift up. You could probably do it with two people, but one person, and I'm weak. Like, I'm a software developer that types every day. I don't work out. I don't have any strength, and that's probably something I need to work on. But I was able to get it up my stairs, the Golden TXL, with very little effort. And so this is where the compromise could be great. You go with that XL size, and it still has that arcade feel, especially on titles that are just way out of reach for the average person. Even if you're into buying full-size arcades, I would say the Star Wars trilogy, either Atari or Sega, are out of reach for a lot of people because those machines are just huge. Now, it's different when you're talking about Pac-Man. Like Pac-Man, I'm sitting here going, what should I do with the Pac-Man? I own a Cabaret Pac-Man, but maybe I should get the Deluxe Pac-Man. Oh, I would really like an Arcade1Up XL Pac-Man. I could also get a full-size arcade Pac-Man, and that would work. And the reason why it'd work is because that machine is not out of my reach. Like, it's not so big, and it's not so heavy, and it doesn't take up so much space that I couldn't do it. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And that's the cool thing is you get to choose which one you want. You want the 3/4 scale? You want a partycade? You want a countercade? You want, you can get, like I have, like the arcade Cabaret. It's kind of cool. It's actually smaller than an Arcade1Up, but it's authentic CRT. It's okay. It only has one game, and that's fine. I've had it for a while, and my particular one that I have, it needs some work. Like, there's warping on it, so it kind of frustrates me. I'll work on the CRT eventually and get that cleaned up. But I'm open to upgrading different Pac-Mans to different options. We got a couple super chats. Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat about some of this. And I'd like to hear what you have to say on this particular topic before we jump in to the next topic. I'm so excited for the next topic, and it'll kind of tie right back into this Arcade1Up XL and why I definitely want it. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. This guy's awesome. I met him in Chicago, the Chicago Retro Ranger, and he's super nice. He's super awesome. $5 super chat. He says, "Hey Justin, I would love the Star Wars trilogy as an XL. I would also love Afterburner. Hope all is well." Yeah, see, we got some people saying XL is the future. I don't want the Tensine stool or anti-fatigue mat. Yeah, this is the interesting one. My understanding is they did throw those things in because they cost them nothing, and they do that to try to give it perceived value. But I'm wondering, like, if adding those things in there actually is worse than just leaving them out, because it almost like makes it, it's like it cheapens it. You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like, if you're gonna pay like $7.99 for an XL or $9.99 for a full size arcade, I would say just make it super high quality, and then you don't have to add anything. And then you're like, oh, it's $1,000. That's because they got it perfect. Is this right? We're talking about the Star Wars. Does Wayfair have the Star Wars XL or Star Wars re-release? Because that's pretty interesting. See, if that's true, it's still crazy, because why are they going for such a high price on eBay at the same time when they're currently available? If they're currently available at Wayfair, that's, to me, that's even crazier. I'm pulling that up real quick. Wayfair. Let me pull this up. Hold on a second. Yeah, Arcade1Up. Catching up with the chat here. It would have to be the Pro model, only if the online leaderboard. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, online leaderboard for the XL version. That would require a little bit more work from Arcade1Up to integrate that leaderboard. I wonder if Code Mystics already has that figured out, and it's just like a license fee, if you will. Yeah, Wayfair. Is Wayfair... Does Wayfair have the Star Wars? Let me pull this up. I don't see it. Star Wars Arcade. All right, I'm looking up the Star Wars. Oh, interesting. But it's a weird price. Let me pull it up. So there's still some out there. $689. Why is Wayfair have some of these? And are they just drop shipping them from As Seen on TV? But see, here's what's crazy. Like, they're still going for a higher price on eBay. It's just the people that are on eBay don't know that they're able to get them. I think it's still an indication that, well, Arcade1Up knows the numbers, right? If for some reason they've only sold like 500, then it is what it is, right? They would know. Or that's the thing. Is there a good majority of the community that's like, maybe they've only sold a certain amount, but they're like, I'm waiting for the XL. You know, this is where if they got their stuff together, they could actually get some feedback on some of those Facebook groups. They could just be like, hey, give us, I'd love to know your interest on a particular topic. Let's see. Does that mean Burger Time would be re-released? It goes for crazy prices on eBay too. I don't know. There was a thing where they were going to, at some point, they said they wanted to re-release Burger Time, but they would do like the Karate Champ version. Let's see. If only they treated Star Wars like they do Pac-Man, they would get Empire Strikes Back and Return the Jedi skins for those set of... Good point. That is a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. I don't think all the 3,500 of them have come through, and there's more to come. Okay. So, but that's interesting, because if there's more to come, there's like more shipments of the items to come. That means they're selling them faster than the next shipment's coming. Like, I'm holding on to the theory as, of course, as hard as I can. Every single thing that's thrown at me, I'm like, but wait a second. Look, I just really want the Atari XL because, like, I'll get to it in a minute. I'll tell you why in a minute. When the Gen 1 Star Wars version of Star Wars came out, Walmart bought too many and had them on clearance price due to it. So they sold through their stock already. They'd be stupid not to make more. It's interesting. Gen 1 version, Walmart bought too many, so that was the problem. And then had them on clearance. Yeah, they did pretty good for a while. Remember, they were like $550. No, it was $500. And then about 3 months later, it went to $450. And then it stayed at that $450 for a while. And then we started seeing some crazy deals. Yeah. Charlie Chuck says $7.99 is ridiculous. One could argue XL are at least as cheap as to make as their riser cabs. Huh. Look, I was basing on that number. I mean, now that you guys brought up the idea of it being an online cabinet, the Star Wars XL being an online cabinet, look, I don't even want to say higher numbers because I don't know if Arcade1Up's like, there's a community of people that said they would pay more. I was basing that on $5.99 is what they sold Star Wars for at the rate of 3,500 built, which was $100 more than the original Star Wars. So you take that $100 more and you apply it to Golden Tee and go, it's Star Wars, so therefore we have to charge more. That was the logic I was guessing they would use. And me saying that was kind of like, this is my reasoning of why it shouldn't be more expensive. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think the XL version of Star Wars should be $1,000, but as a consumer, that's what I'm thinking. Let's see. What happened with the old stock they were going to release? Oh, that's true. There was also supposed to be Now, I don't know about that one. So they talked about 100 of the old units. Best Buy ordered them, and I don't know if I don't know all the details. It was like explained in a way that was confusing to me. It was something like, I think the manufacturer had enough parts from the original run to make 100 more. I don't know. That was news to me when I heard that. So does that mean the original Star Wars cabinet in 2019 was made by the manufacturer? They built a whole bunch of parts, and then they assembled, let's say, 50,000 Star Wars machines. I don't know, 10,000, whatever the number is. But they actually had enough parts to assemble about 100 more. And then after years, they're like, hey, we want you to make this newer Star Wars design. And my guess is, based on what they said, the manufacturer's like, well, we could make 100 more parts of the old one and for like really cheap. And they're like, yeah, Best Buy wants them, and Best Buy ordered them or something like that. But I have heard people say that they saw the Best Buy 2019 version go up and then it disappeared very quickly. I don't know if, they were sold out already, or they only put 2 up there and then they were gone right away because they only put 2, or if the whole lot of them was already sold, or if that's all happening in the future. I don't know. It's interesting though that, I forgot about that. Yeah. Was it 300? Wasn't sure. So that's the topic of the Star Wars XL. And I'd like to talk through kind of this other piece of information related to the Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park is one of the pinball machines that I have been wanting to get for a number of years. So when I first started getting into playing pinball machines, I thought like Star Wars would be where I would go because I love the Star Wars franchise so much. But the Stern Star Wars machine, I didn't feel it. Like, I didn't really enjoy it. And I found myself really enjoying the Jurassic Park. And so anytime I go to the pinball places, that seems to be the most played game that I'd ever played. So I thought, okay, if I'm ever going to own, like a modern Stern machine, Jurassic Park is probably one that I would get. And I kept on playing, trying to get higher scores. I think I broke 130 million. So I played it enough to kind of like build up. I wish I could get like super high scores, like 1 billion, but I'm just not there yet. But I got to learn that table and got to learn the different things. And there's still so much to learn about it. And so I started trying to acquire one, but they weren't available to me. I couldn't buy them new. I talked to dealers. I talked to a dealer in all the states surrounding me, and then the dealers in Iowa, and they were just not available. Then my local dealer was like, I can get you one. I can get you one in 2023. And then I talked to him later, and he's like, sorry, they're already spoken for. I miscalculated it. And so let me kind of talk about it. I'm going to tell you my journey. I finally did get one, and then there's a piece that happened today that I really want to talk about that I think you'll find, I don't know, inspirational. So the Jurassic Park pinball, they come in these different models, right? You got the Pro, the Premium, and the Limited Edition. I've played all three of these. The Pro is probably the one I've played the most because it's available at all the different arcades in my area. Premium, I've played in Chicago. And Limited Edition, there is a Limited Edition not too far from my house. Of course, the Limited Edition is the best one. It's the most enjoyable to play. But what's cool about Jurassic Park is I doubted it for a long time, but the Pro is like 90% of the game that you would get in Premium Limited Edition. Now, I may be saying that because that's the one I ended up going for, and part of it is price. But when it comes to other pinball machines, like I did get a Premium Godzilla, I did prefer the Premium Godzilla over the Pro, and I thought it was worth the additional price. There's a big, long history of the game of why it's so awesome, but I just wanted to show the basics of it, just in case you haven't played this game. There's a lot of parts to the game that I think are highly enjoyable. And whenever I sit down to play it, I feel like I'm on a mission to, get high scores, and I find myself chasing them and actually caring about high scores. And that's, when it comes to console games or arcade games, that's not really something that I've ever gravitated to, because I don't really like competition. And when it comes to like competing with other people, it's just not something that I'm really like, that excites me. But competing with myself and like continuing to grow the high score, I can't deny that when it comes to pinball machines, the excitement's there. Like I get a butterfly in my stomach, like the sounds of Jurassic Park just hit me. And I think the reason why I had to think about it for a while is Jurassic Park. When I was a kid, I think I was about 12 years old, my cousin and I went to the Jurassic Park movie. I think it was 14 times in that summer. It was super cheap to go to the theater, and it was like a couple bucks, and we just went day after day. A couple days later, we went again. And we got to know the movie so well that we did this fun thing where we turned around and looked at the audience when we knew the scary part was coming. And we'd see the audience reaction, and it was really fun. And so Jurassic Park has been something that I really enjoyed my entire life. I bought the Weird Al album, Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark, the dinosaurs are running wild. And my wife and I watch the Riff Tracks version of Jurassic Park a lot, which has Weird Al Yankovic in it, making riffs with the Mystery Science Theater 3000 guys on Jurassic Park. We have that on cue, ready to play on our Plex whenever we're wanting to be entertained. Bam, it is Jurassic Park. We've probably seen it hundreds of times. I should probably go in my Plex. I think it would probably tell me how many times we've watched it. It's at least 100 times. And so when I talked to my wife about owning some pinball machines, Jurassic Park was like thumbs up right away. And so I was like, man, I can't believe I'm not getting Star Wars. Like, I want to get the Jurassic Park. So I went to Captain's Auction, and so it was available in my area by some people, but they were the premium, and it was like $10,000. If you don't know about the Jurassic Park, it's really high price. Like, even though they're not available, you can get them used, and they're more than retail. So the stern prices on the website differ from what you would actually get on the market. And so they're really hard to obtain. And so on the first auction of Captain's Auction, I did not get it. I set myself a limit where I did not want to go higher than retail. And when you're doing Captain's Auction, you have to consider there's a 15% buyer's fee. It's 18%, but really it's 15%. It's 15% if you wire the money. So I was like, oh, I'm going to wire the money. Like, I don't want to pay the 18%. And when I wired them the money, they didn't charge me any sales tax. So I wasn't, for whatever reason, when they sent me the invoice with credit card, it had sales tax. And I said, I'm going to wire the money. Can you make it only 15%? And I wasn't subject to any tax. So the only thing I paid was about $500 in shipping. And let me tell you, the shipping from Captain's Auction is amazing. They wrapped this thing 3 layers with 6 straps to hold that sucker down. to the crate. That thing was not moving, and it took a while to unwrap that to kind of get through it. So I took a chance because it's sight unseen. Like, I'm just watching the video, and the second time around that the Jurassic Park pinball was available to me through auction, I got it. And I did have to pay a little bit more than retail to be able to get it. And it's not in perfect condition. I got it now. I'm going to tell you the story about today. And the outside of it is in great condition. Let me kind of show you. So this was the captain's auction. I got lot 348. It was super exciting. I just was at the mall and came out, and I saw captain's auction was on, and I knew the Jurassic Park pinball was coming up, and he took a big long break. And then I came in, and I decided to go $500 higher than I had normally done. And you can make fun of me all you want. I paid $5,800 for the Jurassic Park pinball. It was a little excessive. I mean, this thing brand new, it's, $6,000 to $7,000. And I don't regret getting it. If I were to buy it brand new, it would have been brand new, but I've been subject to tax. Certain dealers in my area charge shipping. And so the shipping from Nebraska is $500, but so is the shipping from California. So, but it was super exciting. I will tell you one interesting part about it. Once he got up to the 5,800, there was no other bidder. That was it. It was just me. And Chris, Captain's Auction, this is the Simpsons party. Let me go back to it. He just sat there at 1,500 for several minutes. And I think it was because he knew he was going to be like, sold it your way for $5,800. He wanted to get more out of it, because he gets the 15%. And he knew that Jurassic Park probably could get more. And he basically took a break. He if you look at it, this is him saying 59. Let's see, we go to 58. And he basically takes a break. I'm sitting in the car with my final bid saying, am I going to get it? Because that's my final bid. If it goes to 59, I'm done. I'm out. I promised myself 58 was my highest. That was it. I already got to pay the 15%, got to pay $500 for shipping, and I thought I was subject to tax. So I thought I was going to be paying way more than retail, but I figured I could get one of these, maybe, in my local area if I waited, or brand new if I wait like a year. I did not want to wait a year. I said I was willing to pay just a little bit more to get it now and to be able to enjoy it for the next year. So that was kind of my plan. The guy just Chris took a break. And 5,800 going twice. Third and final call. I'm like pins and needles here. Like, are you gonna do it? Look at him. You turn it down, James? He's like changing the subject. He's like trying to get other bidders to come in. Look at him. Well, there's two of them on there. And now he's talking to he's like, what is he doing? So I'm sitting in my car freaking out. Refresh your browser. He's troubleshooting someone. We're told we got plenty of audio here. He's like, oh, it's funny because like a couple minutes earlier, someone said there was an audio issue. And then all of a sudden he's like, there's an audio issue. Let's talk about it. One more time. 5,800 going once. What is he doing? 5,800 going twice. Third and final call done all through 58, 59. Come on, am I going to win this or not? Finally. 5382, 5382. Excellent deal. Yeah, and he knew it was a pretty excellent deal. So it is what it is. There's only one thing I would say that I didn't like about the shipping process, and that is they didn't remove the balls. And so maybe I don't have experience with Stern or shipping pinballs, but the little bit of research that I've come across over the last couple years is if you, a consumer, are going to sell a pinball machine, the first thing you do is remove all of the balls from the machine. And then, you flip it over and you You wrap it millions of times, and then you ship the balls like on top. You pack it separately so it doesn't rattle. So when I received the unit, it took a while to finally get it. There was some weather, there was some storms. So here I am trying to get the machine, calling them like, is it coming? So finally it shows up. And then it just sits there in my garage because I figure I have to hire someone to get it into my basement. And this is the thing I learned. I don't need to hire anyone. If I just apply some knowledge that I have to try to solve problems, and this is the thing that I learned. So as a software developer, we have this thing called spikes. I think Paul can appreciate this. So a spike is a ticket that you get as a software developer where you don't know how to do something, so you're going to go figure it out. And it's not just like doing research and Googling how to do something, it's trying it out. So I thought, I believe I don't know how to get the Stern pinball machine into my basement, but I don't actually know that for sure. I have a dolly. So I talked to my daughter about this. I said, I think I have an idea. I'm just going to try to get my dolly down to the basement. That's it. Just get my dolly down to the basement. So there's two ways to get down to the basement. One, through this brick that's super scary because it's like flat for a while and then goes really fast. So in my mind, I'm like, the pinball is going to flip and flop all over. So I can't do that, right? The other option is to go around the other side of the house into the neighbor's yard and kind of go through the grass. I'm like, can't go through the grass with a pinball machine, right? Now you're probably wondering, well, Justin, why don't you just call up a buddy? And that was my plan. I could call up a buddy, especially for these Stern machines. I was like, I don't need to hire anyone for the Stern machine. I just bring a buddy over. But here's the thing with this hobby. I want to be able to do things by myself. Not because I don't like working with other people, but think about it. It's kind of the Arcade1Up thing. One of the reasons why I think the home arcade works so well is you can spend $500 or $300 on an Arcade1Up and you can get it into your basement or you can get it into your attic. You don't need anybody's help. That's one of the reasons why it's great. Being able to not have to rely on someone else, paying someone to move it downstairs, or changing your mind and wanting to carry it up the stairs and not needing to call a buddy to come over and be like, we'll get some pizza afterwards, have some beers. It's like, no, I want to be able to do that by myself. I don't need to ask my wife, don't need to ask my kids for help. I can do it all by myself. So I thought, okay, if I want this hobby to work, I need to be able to get these pinballs into my basement by myself. So what I was determined to do was to buy one of these stair lifts. So there's a website, I think it's called the Pinball Pro. They're out of Nebraska, I think. They have been working on this really cool stair climber. It's a modification of one that you can find on, say, like Amazon. And this stair climber allows you to move a pinball machine up and down your stairs. So I thought to myself, that's what I'll do. I'll buy that. But that's $1,600. And right now, I promised I wouldn't spend any more money. Like, software engineering this year is a bumpy industry. It's possible I'd have to find a different job this year. And so there could be a rough couple months. I really don't want to spend any more money. So I talked to my wife about this, and she's like, look, you can get whatever you want. Just wait until make sure your job's stable, right? Once you know for sure, like, we're out of this whole software engineering industry is a bumpy industry, do what you got to do. I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. But I didn't want to wait. So I took the dolly and I walked it around the house with no machine on it. That was test number 1. And I was like, I think I can do this. It's a little bumpy on the side of the house, but it's pretty flat. Okay, so that's test number 1. Test number 2, can I get the pinball machine onto the dolly and move it up and down my driveway? My driveway has a little bit of pitch. To be able to get the Jurassic Park pinball to the back of my house, I'm going to have to go down the driveway, go onto the sidewalk, go into the neighbor's driveway that has a hill, and then around the side to the walkout basement. Can I do that with the Stern Pinball? I go up and down the driveway, no problem. Okay, test number 3. Can I get the Stern machine onto the grass? Just on my grass and back again. That passes. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I looked at my watch. 5 minutes later, the Stern Pinball machine is in my basement. No joke. This entire time, being able to get the Stern Pinball machine into my basement was within my reach. All I had to do was work out the details. And it wasn't really that hard. Bam, there it is, freaking right behind me. Check this out. That's my Jurassic Park that you just saw earlier in my basement. All by myself. I did it all by myself. No, think about it. It's complex. This was wrapped up and without any legs. And I was able to put it on a dolly, put it around my house, get it into this room, unpack it, lift it up, put it up on an Arcade1Up's stool so that I could put the back legs on, get it fully aligned, and get T-Rex multi-ball on my first play. I was so excited because this meant more than just getting the Jurassic Park pinball. This means I can do it myself. This means when Godzilla comes, I can do that myself. And then I said to myself, I own the Star Wars Pinball 2000, and I own the Revenge from Mars, but those are stuck in my garage. I think I can move those myself. I think I can do it. And I know it kind of sounds like, yeah, you're a big boy now. You're a big boy now. I know how that sounds. But put yourself in my shoes. Like, is there something right now that's holding you back? And it's possible that you can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. All I did was I thought through it. And it was like, let me think through the number of tests that I need to perform that will build up my confidence to realize that I can do it. And I was able to do it. So then I realized, what is the problem with the Pinball 2000? It's super heavy, and it's got a back box with a CRT in it. I have that mapped out in my head, how to do it by myself. And so with this one, I would have to make a purchase, but it's one of those, there's these pinball dollies that you can basically make through Harbor Freight. It's you basically buy this machine for $150. I think if I get 2 of them, I can do the Star Wars Pinball 2000. I think I can get it into the basement. So let me explain real quick how I think I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm going to take the Star Wars Pinball 2000. Do you guys know what that looks like? Let me pull that up real quick so you can kind of visualize what type of challenge I'm going to be dealing with. Let's see. So let's say the Star Wars Pinball 2000. Come on. All right, I was able to find a video on it. Let's see. The guy kind of shows this machine. Okay, so the Star Wars Pinball 2000, if you look at it, that back box is gigantic. This thing's like, I don't know, 300 pounds or something like that, but it's not very deep. Okay, so here's my plan. Let me see if I can get a wide shot of this so you can visually understand the challenge that I'm dealing with. I can't really find any. That's fine. Okay. All right. So imagine you got this really big back box. And I've been looking at forums and people are talking about the Pinball 2000. There was one forum, this one threaded group where someone was saying you can take the pieces apart. And I had considered that. What if I take it all apart? But he added one extra piece that I didn't know about. You can take the playfield out pretty easily on the Pinball 2000. So here's my first thing. Can I remove the playfield? If I can remove the playfield by myself, you know, I know that sounds easy, but I'm going through the list of things that I want to be able to do. So I take the playfield out. Maybe that's 100 pounds, 75 pounds. I'm not really sure. So that'll lower the weight of it. Then I'm going to get the pinball dolly that lifts the machine up. At that point, I take the legs off and then lower the machine as low as I can to the ground. But I need 2 of those dollies because that one is going to be still underneath it, close to the ground. Then I take the other dolly and I move it right at the level of where that CRT topper is. Then I unscrew everything and I move the CRT onto the other dolly, right? So now that CRT, which probably only weighs like 100, 150 pounds, is on a dolly. That I get into the basement on its own. The playfield, I get on the basement on its own. And then I take a normal dolly and put just the actual pinball box, which at this point maybe only weighs 150 pounds, and get that. Well, we got someone saying no. No, is that not good? This is a bad idea? So I was thinking if I can take it apart in 3 pieces, then when I come into the basement, I reassemble the entire thing. See, Supplerus, I don't know how to pronounce your name. He's saying, just get help. Now, there is a guy locally. He's a pinball operator. He says he'll move both of them down to my basement for $300. Are you saying just get help on this one? Very bad idea. Okay, tell me where I'm going wrong. Tell me where I'm going wrong. Where is the risk here? See, Matt Astor Gaming's like, it's a wonderful idea. Why not? Why not? I think I can do it. Now, I'm yeah, it's probably worth the 300. Probably worth the 300. Don't be a hero. Pay the $300 dude. See, I'm okay with that because the Stern machines I can handle myself, right? And I want to be able to buy some more and rotate through them, right? Like maybe I'll get a 3rd Stern in the next year or so, maybe next year, save up some more money. And then in my area, there's enough pinball enthusiasts that I could do some trades. But to be able to play the game of I'm trading pinball machines, I need to be able to get them into my basement, play them for a couple years, and then be able to go back out. You know, and this is part of the hobby for me, is being able to do that all myself. Now, he's a cool dude, and he's like, he basically said he would like move a ton of arcades for me as well, but he only comes, it's like $300 is his minimum to come to someone's house. It's not worth hurting yourself. Pay for the help. But here's the thing. Tombstone. Well, here's the thing. Think it through, right? With the dolly, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me try to sell you on this, okay? Give me a second. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about, okay? So these stair climbers, it's a stair climber cart. And let's see. This says it's $1,000, but this is not $1,000. Oh wait, no, this one is $1,000. Never mind. Yeah, I was like, it's not $1,000. Yeah, it's totally $1,000. So, okay, wait, this is the stair climber. I'm not talking about the stair climber. Hold on, I'm talking about the Harbor Freight. So I have all these different options. So Harbor Freight, what is it called? It's like a pinball cart is what people are calling it. Yeah, so this particular one is not the exact one. Come on. This one, okay, I'll show you all the different options for like moving pinball that I've been researching. So you got this guy. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $1,100. There's a pinballpro.com. That guy, Glenn, he makes a modification of this that's $1,600, but it can do 650 pounds. It has a stronger battery, and it's got a flat bottom. So I've been thinking about this option for a while, but this other option is what I've been looking at more recently, and that is Harbor Freight has this hydraulic table cart. Now, the particular one that a lot of the pinball enthusiasts are using is not this one. It's one that only does a 500 capacity, and it's only $150. And so the problem with that is this would go under the pinball. It lifts the pinball, no problem. You don't have to worry about that. It's just the problem with this machine is the handle needs, this whole thing needs to be underneath the pinball machine. So there's a couple different modifications. One of the modifications is you put a hinge here, and that's a cheap modification. You put a hinge there, and now the thing kind of just, lowers down. There's other modifications where you use like a flagpole adapter, and it's kind of a little more high tech. There's another one where you can kind of build a hook right on this piece right here. But the key of it is you crank that lever and it'll lift up a pinball, no problem. I've been wanting to get one of these anyway because my wife and I talked about when we have family over, we would move the pinball machines into the carpeted area of the basement. And so it'd be nice to be able to roll them all out. It's kind of funny. It's possible that we wouldn't do that. I would just be like, come into the game room. Like I just turn this kind of area more like a family-friendly game room. It's not a family-friendly game room right now, but we'll see. So my thought was, what if I buy two of these, $150, and moving the CRT, you see, if I'm just moving it off the pinball onto the hydraulic lift, because I've lowered the pinball, you see, and then the other hydraulic lift is at a point where when I unscrew the CRT, it just moves right over onto it. And now I have a cart, put the CRT on a dolly, take the CRT down to the basement. That seems doable. Take the playfield out, can take the playfield down to the basement, no problem. And then now you just have the body, which I think is going to be easier than even the Jurassic Park that I got, because it's a smaller body. And it won't have a playfield in it. It won't have a big CRT on it. I think it could work. I think I've explained it well enough that if you still think I'm an idiot, that's fine. And I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that for sure. I respect your opinion. If majority of people think that, like, for this case, for the Pinball 2000, just pay the $300, maybe that makes sense. Maybe that does. You can rent a stair stepper from tool rental places. So I did look at this. The stair stepper in my area, you can rent for about $100 a day. And I definitely don't even want to put the Pinball 2000 on the stair stepper. Like, it's just too heavy to go down carpeted steps. I mean, maybe it could be done. So that one I could rent for like 4 or 5 days for $300. So that might be a better deal than spending $1,100 on the other option, like this one from Amazon, or like the $1,600. If you only need it once or twice, then it's like, why spend the thousands of dollars when you can just, rent it? So that makes sense. But here's the thing I'm talking about with the $150 pinball table is, if I'm going to own like 4 or 5 pinball machines full size in my basement, it would be nice to be able to move them around, be able to lift them up, and $150 and a $5 hinge. It's a pretty good price. And here's one idea I had is I buy 2. I only need the second one for the CRT movement, but I could mod both of them to be the pinball mover. And if anyone else in the Des Moines area needs a nice pinball mover, I'd sell it to them at cost and be like, yeah, that's Harbor Freight, $150. I don't know. Give me another $20 for the modification that I did on it. Maybe it's helping someone else out too, But the thing is I want to make sure that the money that I do spend is not wasted, in the sense that I'm going to be able to reuse that item. And so this takes me back to the original topic. I think you're saying $300 is a steal. Yeah, so there's all the furniture leg wheels for the basement. That's another option. So there's like just sliders that you can move it on. There's like skates you can move it on. But $150 for that lift, I think that's a pretty good value. So it takes us back to the original topic, Arcade1Up XL. Come on, man. That would look so good. So good next to that Jurassic Park, right? Like I'm gonna switch Cameron's here, if I can remember how to do it. There we go. So I will say, now that I have the Jurassic Park pinball, it's pretty massive. This thing's a pretty massive machine. And it's what's really close to it is the Legends pinball, but with the original back box. This Stern obviously dwarfs it. And I'm going to be trying out some things. I don't know. I might make some videos on it. Like, what does the Jurassic Park Stern pinball look like right next to an Arcade1Up, or right next to, an AtGames pinball machine, just to kind of show like the size difference. I think that'll be educational for some people that they'd find it pretty interesting. Yeah. So it really makes me want to get the Arcade1Up XLs. Because the XL machines, I think, would fit really well next to full-size pinball machines, or even the Pinball 2000s that are kind of smaller. It doesn't mean I dislike the 3/4 scale versions. I have them behind me, and there's some over there, and then I have the full-size arcades and the Jurassic Park like over there. What are you saying? The lift tables don't have them. What are you talking about? Okay. I'm coming to Arcade and Amusement auction on April 1st. Did they announce it? Dude, JT, you going to be there? Is that at where's that at? I didn't see the announcement. I'd be happy to move them with you when I'm in town. I haven't moved them before that. Dude, that's awesome. Arcade and Amusement auction April 1st. Yeah, man, I didn't even know that now I got to look at that. Did they announce it on Facebook? Let's see. Arcade and Amusement. Here we go. Arcade and Amusement. Man, I talked to them when I was at the last one. It's like, everything's a mess with them. Like, their website's behind. Their Facebook background says December 3rd, 2022. It still doesn't show anything in the April one. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I don't see any of their announcements for April 1st. Is it cuz you're messing with me? You're messing with me? It's April Fool's. It's an April Fool's joke. No, I believe you. Anyway, that'll be cool. It'll be really cool to see you, man. JT Brunick. It'd be really cool to see you at the arcade auction. The last one was at Merle Hay Mall. They rented out a just like a little spot there, and it's on their website. Really, they updated their website. Let me check it out. So, wow, they actually updated the website. So now it's the Facebook that's out of sync, right? Let me share the screen what you're talking about. So amusement and arcade auction. Pull it up here. So what's it say? So April 1st, 2023. Check back for more information. Come to Altoona? They're going to do it in Altoona again? Or is that the old information? Because they used to do it in Altoona at the Adventureland, and then they did it at Merle Hay Mall this last time. And yeah, I'd love to know what they plan on doing. When you spend $5,800 on a pinball machine, $300 to move it is just pennies. This is fair. This is fair. This is fair. All right, you sent me an email. That's awesome. Okay, so it's you make a very valid point. But see, here's the thing. I'm in that, it's kind of a conundrum right now, right? Where, yes, I spent the money, but I spent the money when I wasn't spending a lot of money. Or, no, I'm saying that wrong. When I was okay with spending the money, and now I'm a little more reserved with my money. So today, I came up with a free option, and it worked. And so I'm basically trying to come up with a very inexpensive way to be able to get more pinball machines down into my basement. And yeah, maybe $300. And it's starting to warm up. I didn't want to ask the guy to do the moving of the pinball machines while there was snow on the ground because of the possibility of just going through the grass. I think the grass is the way to go. Going through the grass around the house. It's a little bumpy, but if you take it slow, and that's what I did. I'm so excited. In my head, this podcast went a little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it. It kind of sounded a little corny as it came out, but when I was so excited. I was excited that I was able to do it because it unlocked things for me. It meant to me that I'll be able to do some of this myself. I will be able to get the Godzilla and get it down here myself. If I want to resell one of these, I can do that all on my own. I don't have to depend on anyone. And that's what I was talking about. The other epiphany that I had was I think that's kind of the appeal for Arcade1Up. And that's why it's enjoyable to be in this community, because they give you options that you can buy and you can move them around your house. I mean, that was the number one reason why in 2018 I was even interested in this, because it was like, why not? It's like $300, now $500, and I don't need anybody's help to get it into my basement, right? And so, I don't know. The moral is, and this is the part I was really excited about, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. I didn't do anything special, but I just realized that I was, maybe thinking it was more difficult than it actually was. And I'm sure you guys have done this before, but it's just new to me to just kind of think differently, try to problem solve some of these parts of the hobby. I just sat down and thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I think I can do it. And then I just did it. I literally was like, felt like Nike. I was like, just do it. Are we going to see some gameplay videos of the Jurassic Park pinball? If you want, do it solo, Justin. You can do it, Waterboy voice. You can do it. That's cool, man. I was hoping, let's see, investing in a stair climber hand truck is probably worthwhile, because you'd be buying and selling cabs and such, moving them downstairs frequently, probably. Yeah, I appreciate the encouragement there. I'll keep that an option, and hopefully things will go well this year, and I'll be able to kind of unlock some of the savings to be able to invest on some of those. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys really enjoyed the podcast. We got, I think 19K Fox is going live today, or is he moving? I can't remember. Like next week for sure he's moving. Now I want to check real quick if 19K Fox. I know B Kong is going to be live later today. I think he's got a pretty good topic lined up. 19K Fox. Let's see if he's yeah, he's got a really nice thumbnail, in fact. Hold on, let me make sure I forward anyone who's watching this video in the next hour will get forwarded over to him before we let go. Any final thoughts in the comments? Anything that you want to talk about before we end it for tonight? Put that in the chat, and I would love to discuss one last thing with whatever interesting thing I find in the chat while I do this real quick. So let's do a redirect. There we go. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna be here. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, 19K Fox, your new place. I know it's longer, but not as wide. Can it fit the Star Wars Sega trilogy in there? Is it gonna be enough room? Or are you gonna have some challenges? Will you have challenges if you got the yeah, when's the Foo Fighters pen coming? I don't think I can do it. I would love to buy it. It's my highest priority. I would love to get the Foo Fighters, but I believe it would be irresponsible for me to purchase the Foo Fighters machine at this time. Justin already told you he doesn't want to be your monkey wrench. Let's see. Installed my RR mod last night. Which one? The Ridge Racer mod, I assume? Oh, that's right. The Texas Convention next week. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, the movie and the trivia stream the other night. That was kind of fun. We did Chat GPT. Um, yeah, forget your family by the arcade. Uh, you need one music pinball. Yeah, that's fair. I totally do. And I just realized I this is not good. Um, I want to make sure I grab everyone. I'm sorry. So another super chat earlier in the day or earlier in the podcast, he says, "You ready for Quantum Leap tomorrow? I hope you don't kill the show by bouncing it around schedule. It's getting really good." Yes, I'm very excited for Quantum Leap. I think one of their recent episodes of Quantum Leap was one of the best. The one that is kind of like Groundhog Day. The name of the episode, what was it? It was like live, die, leap, die, repeat. Is that it? Leap, die, repeat. So he was just in a time loop. It's a really cool time loop episode of Quantum Leap. It was kind of like, like a whodunit. They had to figure out who the bad guy was. The reveal was really good. The mechanism of how he was like killing everyone was really cool. So go check out that episode. I'm trying to be spoiler free, but just kind of at a trailer level, kind of explain Quantum Leap, the latest episode. And then there was an episode, he was like a doctor. That was all right. That was pretty good. Yeah, I'm very excited about that Quantum Leap. New episodes. It's your destiny. Yeah, leap, die, repeat. Letting go is hard, but being beautiful is free. That's right. I should go back to that list and actually use some of them just to be funny. There you go. I could get the Weird Al. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Music, not movie. Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know what the Foo Fighters pinball machine looks like. We'll find out on Tuesday. I'm definitely excited to find out. It'll be very difficult not to buy the Foo Fighters pinball if it's basically Attack from Mars. And I heard someone else say that it's probably Attack from Mars meets Metallica. At least that's like one of the rumors. And I got that clue when I watched the trailer video and saw the green Martian right away. It was almost like they're just shoving it in your face. They're like, that's the first character you see. And it's like, well, that's going to be like the pinball character, right? Like that makes sense. Like, why would someone draw a Martian for like some trailer if it wasn't going to be a big part of the game? And that in fact could be the graphics that they're used on it. And so, but what if it pays a ton of homage to Attack from Mars, almost to the point where it's basically ripping off Attack from Mars? Like that could be a killer combination. Like imagine playing Attack from Mars, but with Foo Fighters music. And then like, as you get into, different missions in the game, each mission is basically a song. So it's all like, select your mission. And you're basically selecting what song you want to listen to, and then you got to do that mission, but like you're trying to destroy the Martians. You're the Foo Fighters. I think it would be really cool. That's another thing. Mandalorian on Wednesday. Who is hyped about Mandalorian? Would a Smashing Pumpkins pinball be a day one purchase to you? It's tough, man. Like, yes, but so was Foo Fighters. The only reason why I'm not purchasing it is because I shouldn't spend the money. Although I'm already going down the justification route. This year, my taxes were messed up. I overpaid for Social Security. And so I'm getting more money back from taxes than I typically would expect in a given year because of the Social Security was overpaid. And so I haven't hit submit on my taxes yet. So there is kind of like, I was doing the taxes and I was like, this is almost like there was a bank error in your favor. It wasn't really bank error in your favor. It was, you didn't know that you were paying, like they kept on taking money out of a paycheck, even though it extended $9,114. So the federal government is only allowed to take 6.2% of your salary for Social Security, not to exceed $9,114. But because the company I worked for had two different entities, but the same EIN number, that created a scenario where the company continued to collect Social Security longer than they should have. And it all gets resolved in taxes. And so, yeah, all that overage will just come back to me in the refund. So that definitely take a dent on that Foo Fighters machine. It's kind of money that kind of came out of nowhere, if you will. So, hobby deduction on pinball. I don't make enough in the hobby to be able to deduct anything. So, I mean, it'd be something if, like, you know, YouTube paid $50,000 a year, then yeah, that'd be great. But this podcast doesn't even cover. I mean, I'll be straight with you. Like, the podcast that I do every week for 52 weeks, it adds up over time. But it's not $10,000 or $20,000. It's much less than that. It's worth it. I enjoy it. But you know, I don't know how the taxes would work on that. I would be like way negative if I wrote off too many stuff. Yeah, if you review all your cabs on YouTube, isn't it a tax write-off? Sure. But like I said, when you make a review video and the review video makes $50, but it cost $500 to buy the material for it, you're writing off $500 against a $50 income. I mean, I've had some review videos that paid like $100, a couple $100, but those are few and far between. Like the Star Wars Arcade1Up video that I did in 2019 paid $500, but it took like 2-3 years because it's got like 150,000 views. And so it was just like every month it's a couple more dollars and it just added up. But that was over the course of years. That means you would probably find write-offs for YouTube income. Yeah. I haven't done that part of the taxes yet. My taxes are all settled except for figuring out what the Google ad, you know, how much money was made off of Google ads from YouTube, and then what I would consider write-offs against it. I bought a couple cameras this year. I bought a couple, like the A10 Mini Extreme ISO, which was like $1,000. This Rodecaster Pro 2 that I'm using was like $600. So there's definitely a lot of things that I can write off. But like one pinball machine is like, it's a huge write-off. I wonder if there would be a huge risk factor in writing off things that expensive. It's a hobby. If the business consistently costs more money than it makes, well, I'm definitely in that territory for sure. Definitely in that territory. We're talking about Jurassic Park pinball, so that means you can write off the whole cost of that, right? Maybe. I'll see. Sometimes I enter that type of stuff. I do this thing. Last year I did taxes. I like threw everything at it. It was like every possible thing that I use for work, every possible, like notebooks, you know, all these things that are not reimbursed, overage on internet that the company doesn't compensate for. I put in Arcade1Up machines I put it all in there, just everything. And then the tax number was like the TurboTax. I'm using actually I'm not using TurboTax this time. I'm using Free Tax USA, I think, because it like could handle that scenario where I had two W-2s from the same EIN number. Like it understood it completely. And TurboTax was all like, you're going to have to call the IRS on that one. We don't want to touch it. But Tax Free USA was like, we got you. Anyway, so whenever I've done the thing where I like just threw like this laptop I bought, this thing, this iPad, this phone, like, it's just like everything. TurboTax is like, you're gonna get audited. And I'm like, okay, let me back out some of those. See, there we go. Trips to Vegas for CES. Yeah. I know some people that write it off, but they also make like $30,000 a year off of YouTube, right? Like, I'm not that lucky. If I made $30,000 a year off of YouTube, I would definitely write all of that stuff off. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Don't forget to check out the other content creators that make great content here on YouTube. Check them out. Appreciate you allowing me to rant and share part of my life with you today. Hope you enjoyed it, because I typically don't make content like this. This was let's see, like, as you guys know, I don't make a lot of reviews. I don't make content that's like, look what I bought. I usually don't. And I've gotten complaints from people that are like, this dude never actually makes videos about stuff that he buys. And I'm like, fine, I will. Like, I've read comments from people that are like, the dude claims he owns 10 arcades, but where has he ever made a video on it? I'm like, I just don't like making videos that are basically, look what I bought. I mean, other people make that, and I enjoy their content. I do. I'm not saying I don't like that content. It's just, for some reason, I don't have motivation to make that type of content. And so today was the very first podcast that basically on the thumbnail says, look what I bought. And I'm like, here you go. I bought something. But I wanted it to be more than look what I bought. I wanted it to be, this is what I learned from buying it. Yeah, Paul, that's basically it. I don't want to appear to be flexing. I'm not trying to be mean towards anyone else, and I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anyone else. It's just, I don't have the motivation to make that type of content, and I find myself not doing it. But I don't want people to think I'm weird because I'm not doing it. And some people start to think I'm weird because I don't. So I don't know. I'll change it up. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'll look what I bought. I bought this pinball machine. Anyway. Yeah, show and tell. Yeah, basically. Anyway, have a good one. We'll see you guys next time. I didn't do a midweek stream on Wednesday. I've been working on my basement. I still got to put up some more blankets up here behind me. That's my last spot. I got a couple Arcade1Up's that I got to move over there. I'm getting close to making this like a really, really functional, awesome game room with multiple like little pods of gaming stations. So I got the CRT station. I got an LCD station. The LCD station can have a lot of consoles in it, like about 8. And CRT can probably do like 2 or 3 comfortably with the furniture that I have around it. I have enough for about 4 or 5 pinball machines, 4 or 5 full-size arcade machines, 4 or 5 Arcade1Up, and even over here 4 or 5 Arcade1Up. And then I'm already like, it's filling up quick, and I'm starting to realize I can fit it all in here, but then there's not a lot of room to move around. So I got to think through it. So anyway, I'll try to do an episode, a hangout on Wednesday night, despite all that. And I'm going to continue to solve problems by research, I guess, spikes. I'm using spikes in my day-to-day life. That's what I learned. Why not? Try stuff out. I don't know. I sound like I should have learned this when I was like 18, but I'm just applying specifically what I do at work to my day-to-day specifically, and that's really helped because I'm good at it at work. Why not try that exact technique for these problem solving? And it worked great. Anyway, enjoyed hanging out with you guys. We'll see you guys in the next video.